We are live. We are live. How y'all doing? We're gonna wait for a couple of y'all to come on in, but come on. That's what they say, right? Come on in. Everybody go live. Like people can't replay what. Well, I guess if you don't post the video after you're done, they can't. But every video I see, people say, come on in. Wait for a couple more y'all to come on in. Well, you're coming in now. Come on in. You come in later. You can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, right? Podcast platform. Oh yeah, you can talk about that tonight. I'm still working on it. I'm getting this out there slowly but surely. At some point, all 21 episodes will be posted. 21. I mean, this is episode 21. Dang, we got. All right, so hey, how y'all doing? Welcome to Mannn with 3 N's. Me too. We are live and we are yet back another time to come to you all and just have a good conversation. So welcome to everybody who's coming on right now. We just want to welcome you to our platform where we want to give men the opportunity and the platform to really just speak on things that we don't normally speak on. And we want to create the place where we can shatter the silence of men and start a community of love, healing, and laughter. Yeah, I know we don't laugh a lot. We don't love a lot, or we don't know how to show love a lot, and we definitely don't allow the healing process for us to. We want to hurry up and be done with it, and so we can move on to the next thing. So for one of those things, for that to happen, for the healing to happen, we have to shatter the silence that we kind of use as men. So that's what this platform is geared towards. We want to tell you all, welcome again to Mannn with 3 N's, Mannn Me Too. So that just simply means, we're all going through certain things. And sometimes when you're going through certain things, you feel like you're all by yourself. You feel like, whatever it is, or you feel like you're the only one going through it. But we're here to let you know with some of the stuff, hey, man, me too. I'm going through some of those same things. So we again want to say welcome to our 21st show. It's crazy. Like, we're grown. Huh? We're grown. Uh-oh. Well, you know what happens when you're grown. Oh, man. You got to move out now. But this is our 21st show. And guess what, guys? We want to kind of talk about it a little bit tonight. I just want to say happy anniversary to you, bro. We've been doing this for over a year now. We didn't get a chance to come on last month because we had a whole lot of stuff happen within that time frame. Life happened, yeah. And so, but this is our 21st show, and we started this in May of 2020, and I can't believe that we're still here. I mean, I can't believe that we're still here, but I can't believe it's been that length of time already. So we've been at this for a year and some months now. We're in July. You're right. So hey, again, welcome to Mannn Me Too. For the people who are just coming on, if you all have any comments or any concerns or anything that you all don't get, that we don't answer in the chat, you all can send those to Mannn with 3 N's, me too, at gmail.com. Also, we want you all to know that anytime that we're on, anytime that we're live, you all can be notified that we are live if you go to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. And when you hit the notification bell, smash that notification bell and hit all. So anytime we put up any content or any notifications that you may need to know that we're getting ready to go live, or we're getting ready to show a video or sell merch or whatever it may come in the future, you all will be notified of it if you go to our YouTube channel and click, and that's Mannn Me Too, and hit the notification bell, man with 3 N's. Make sure you type that in, man with 3 N's, me and TOO, and you will be linked to our YouTube page. And if you keep that notification on, anytime we come up with anything, you all will be notified. So happy anniversary, bro. We straight made it a year, and like you said, some change. So I know a lot of times ministries don't make it that long, businesses don't make it that long, and definitely other podcasters and shows, I've seen them come and go. And so for us to still be pushing at it, and because I guess we realize that it's not just about us.
I was about to say, that's because we got a goal. It's not just about the numbers, and eventually this will be what we know it to be.
Hey, you know what? You never know. This could turn into a conference or a men's group. We can be having our own mega.
That's what we need. Yeah, dudes don't be out here doing nothing, man.
And be suffering in silence and straight struggling, like, you know.
And we don't need to.
When we could be. Well, I guess in order for that to happen, we got to get over our pride. Mm-hmm. We have to get over, because a lot of times we deal with a lot of insecurity, a lot of don't want people to know what we're actually going through.
Oh man!
And yeah, and that goes back to what we talked about previous times in previous episodes. That, you know, a lot of it boils down to how we were raised and how we were taught growing up. And so, you know, you would always hear, man, the boys don't cry, and, you know, and it's and our emotions are way more than, and the things that we go through are just way more than crying. But with that being said alone, it pushes us to not deal with any of our emotions. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, this is bigger than us. We want to make sure that if any guy that's dealing with anything, if, you know, they feel some type of way about something, that they have a place where they can reach out to, that they can share information. Hey, we all learn from each other. Me and Carl, we don't act like we know it all. We, you know, don't proclaim to know, act that we know it all, but we learn from each other. Every time we come on and we have a conversation, I learn from you all. I learn from this guy. And so that's what it's all geared towards. Yes, we do have female followers as well that come on and engage in conversation, and some are supporters, some just passing through. We appreciate you as well. But this is definitely a platform for men. We want to shatter the silence, because a lot of times we're silent, but we're suffering in that silence, and we're really battling in our minds. So,
listen, we're going to keep this going until it turns into what we know it to be.
Hey,
once the rest of the world catch on,
I'm with you, my brother. Okay, so we normally start this show off with a segment called "Would You Rather," and so tonight we're gonna do a question of "Would You Rather," and I want you all to answer in the comments section. What would you rather do as well? Don't just leave the conversation between me and Carl, but we want you all to join in as well.
We see the chat. If you leave a comment, we can see
it. That's right.
Join us. This is an open dialogue.
All right. So, would you rather, Carl? This is our segment of "Would You Rather," and I want you all to answer too. Would you rather? And I want you to think hard about this, because think about the season that we're in.
I feel like
it's not hard at all, but I just want you to think about your answer. Would you rather give up air conditioning for a year or internet for a year?
Internet, like
any form of it.
Even when I'm at work, I don't have it. Or I can't use the internet personally for work. I mean,
okay, let's make it. Well, you can't use it at home.
Okay.
You don't have air at home, or you don't have internet, and it includes your car as well.
Internet is vital. Okay, this internet includes. I gotta work this.
That includes anything you do over the internet, banking.
If
Facebook,
I need to go somewhere and I need to
MapQuest.
Woo! I'm talking about the Google map that's built on my phone that I can type in the address and they say, okay, Carl, let's go. I can't use it.
Either air or internet.
So I can't travel out of town no more because I don't know how to read it. So I'm going to be at home for a year. So I don't have
really called like we weren't traveling before we had MapQuest and stuff.
I wasn't.
Oh my God.
Okay, check this out. This how would you rather was, you know? When Ebony was in college and I would go see her, I didn't have a.
How did you get there? Especially the first
I would be at work. I would look up the address on the computer at work. MapQuest. And you know, it gives you line by line, turn here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we give you mileage, like into like each marker, like 171 miles on 70 west.
Man, these kids wouldn't be able to function.
So I would take a notebook to work, write it down. I wasn't even smart enough to just print it off. I literally sat
please
there.
don't tell me you sitting there writing down the instructions when you.
I don't even know why I didn't think to just print it, but I wrote it hand to paper in the car like this. So, you know, it tells you like how many miles for each step. I would reset the trip meter on the car.
Wow.
That was terrible.
Yeah, that wasn't my testimony. I mean,
but
I actually printed out the directions.
But I could sacrifice not traveling for a year because I'm not going to be hot.
But you can figure that out though.
No air.
But you can look at a map and.
Man, if I look at a map, that's like looking at the stars and trying to figure out where it is. But being hot, just imagine when you get in your car. This is no air anywhere, right?
No air anywhere.
You get in your car after work. You know how hot it is in the car.
You're definitely right.
I'm not doing it. I'm taking it. I'll sit at home for a year. I'll figure out how to get places locally. It's too hot. And I keep seeing all these people like, oh, it's 115 degrees, and I feel like that's coming to St. Louis or something. So I can't be hot.
Okay, so what would you all say? Was that Crystal Green said keep the internet? Air conditioner, Betty said air conditioner.
When you giving up the
yeah, or do you all mean you are giving it up, or you are giving up the internet?
I think Crystal is giving up internet. You can have.
I guess technically you would be able to use the internet at work, or you can go to somebody's house and use the internet, but
that's cheap. That's cheap. There's no internet.
No internet. Okay. What do you rather?
I would give up the internet over air conditioning.
Really?
What say you?
Well, for those that know me and my wife,
it's that's all I'm saying.
I can't be hot. I get frustrated when I'm hot. I get annoyed when I'm hot.
It's hard to go to sleep.
I get an attitude when I'm hot. You know how when people are hungry, I can deal with being hungry. Being hot, I hate it. Well, the thing is, I don't mind being hot if I'm doing something, if I'm moving furniture or working out or doing something physical. I don't mind being hot.
but I'm literally being tortured if I'm sitting somewhere and it's hot. So
sweating for no reason.
I would just have to watch y'all be on the internet because I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but giving up the internet is
that's a lot though. I mean, think about our daily. We look at so many different apps, whether it be social medias or banking or we deal with. I mean, even having doctor's appointments, they start having virtual doctor's appointments, and everything is through the internet. That means you can't use your debit card.
Hold on, Crystal Gray, I just reread her message. She said you only give up, you only need air for a portion of the year. That's a good point.
That's true.
But that portion of the year is critical.
You know what? That is true. And when I was a child, we lived through it.
Right.
We had that fan in the window. And,
shoot.
I mean, it was torture. It used to be so hot in the house. I feel like I used to see the devil walking around. Like, it was hot.
I'm with Crystal, man. I'm keeping the internet.
You keeping the internet? What?
I'm going to be the angriest black man.
Just look at everybody in their cars and their house. They get on
you know what?
They're not even sweating.
This is how crucial air is to my life. If it's hot outside and I'm driving down the street and I see somebody driving down the street with their window down,
you get upset.
I be like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you doing this? Like, what are you trying to prove? Like,
especially if they're actually working.
Yeah, if it's a nicer looking car, like, I just assume their air is working. I'm like, but why though? Like, why are you torturing yourself? Like,
I put that in the same category as people riding around with their mask on. By themselves. I'm like, where are you going?
They don't want to infect themselves.
I guess not. All right, so yeah, you all continue to put in the chat what you would do, but I do agree that we only need air. Well, we need air for a portion of the year. So that is true. Although in my house, my wife keeps the fan on all year long, whether it's winter, summer, spring, or fall. And
but the fan does.
What do you all keep y'all temperature at your house on?
We keep the temperature at like 70. If we put it on 72, that's like pushing. Like that's the lowest. Typically, it's like
that's the lowest.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Typically, it's like 74, 75 ish.
That's hot.
No, it's comfortable. Just because y'all be over here with the air on 44.
No, we keep it between 68 and 72.
Yeah, the lowest I've ever dialed it was 72.
Really?
Yeah. Unless there was like people over.
Yeah, now I really turn it down when people come over because I want to, people going in and out the house and the doors, and that just create heat. Don't let somebody be cooking. And
there we go, 75, 76.
Yeah. 70, oh my God. Hey, Crystal. Hey.
That's normal, man. Y'all
won't be coming to your house. I don't keep it on 75, 78 in the wintertime. No, I mean, like the temperature, I don't want it to. Oh my God, I just got a headache. Oh, my wife will have an instant attitude.
If I put it on 72, it's like 100 degrees outside. Mm-hmm. That means it's like I need to crank it up.
Wow.
But
that's interesting.
If it's like 90, if it's like 80, 90 outside, 74, 75 is pretty okay. Cool.
Oh man, if you all can see what we anyway. So yeah, I keep our temperature. Okay, so let me go fact. My job is extremely cold. My job is extremely cold. And sometimes it's extremely hot in the wintertime because they have heat on. But so I think I've become conditioned to being cold from that and the fact that my wife has always kept the fan on. So I think I've become conditioned to being cold, and when I'm not that, I'm almost miserable.
You
Now I don't want to be freezing, but
you built up this cold.
I guess so because they be at work like you're not cold. But I've learned that as long as my fingers are okay, my fingers and toes, I'm good. If my fingers are cold, I'm I feel like somebody's too.
That's too far. Once you made it that far, it's like you almost.
So yeah, that was our Would You Rather segment. We made it to 20 minutes. All right, yeah. All right. Again, welcome to our show. We want to keep you all on. Thank you all for all the congratulating us on our 21st show. And
if those who are watching, if you could share this, that can help us out too.
Yeah,
help us out.
Make sure you all share this because we're getting ready to talk about. Well, first of all, over these 21 shows, we've had some really good topics over this time. So if you all want to, when you go to our YouTube channel, you all can go back and even on Facebook, you can look at some of the shows. But if you go back to our YouTube channel, you can definitely access all of the shows, see some of the topics, and you definitely can share that as well with other people because we've had some great topics that we've talked about. Some really deep, some not too deep, but they have all been good topics that we've talked about. And so, yeah. So right now, make sure that you share this show because we're getting ready to get into it. I'm not sure if you all read it, the title, but we are talking about being burned out. And before we go any further in this, I would have to thank God for allowing us to not only do this show, but for us to develop a friendship and a brotherhood to the point where we would want to do something like this. Right. So, and for him keeping us consistent in our lives and building us up to even be here to do this. So I definitely give honor to God for that. I, don't take it lightly or for granted. And I would, I'm sure, we would both like to thank our wives for supporting us in what we do. We wouldn't be husbands without them. So.
It is true.
All right.
Love you, babe.
Right. So we want to talk about being burned out. I have a question for you, and I want you to answer, but I want you all to answer it as well. And I want to know, do you know what it means to be burned out? What does that mean to you?
What does it feel like to?
What does that mean to you?
It means.
Have you ever experienced? Well, I guess we get to it. But what does that mean to you?
Just overwhelmed, I'm not even gonna say overworked. It's just like I need a break.
Okay, do you know when you've reached that place?
Not always.
And that's why I brought that up because a lot of times, especially as men, we don't know what that looks like until it's too far.
Yeah, when I start snapping out on folks, it's like, I should just go sit down. Because what they just did probably didn't warrant what I just gave them. So maybe it's me. So then you start thinking about it. No, what it is.
Because in previous shows, we've talked about pressure and, talked about different topics around that. But sometimes we don't know what that looks like in that moment.
Man, a lot of time pressure is so crazy because like you don't even know you feeling the pressure, but it's like it's affecting your like just daily life because, like, even though you may be doing 100 things throughout the day in the back of your head, if you got like some decision that you need to make or something that's pretty crucial that you need to do, like it may be on the back burner, but you constantly thinking about this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You tossing this around in the back of your head for who knows how long, and it's like
So being burned out is a broad subject because you can be burned out in many different areas, whether it's your job, whether it's with your family, being a husband, being a father, uh, being a leader at the church, or any of those types of things. You can become burned out in those situations. What do you normally do when you feel that pressure?
I'm a notorious let me take a nap.
Okay.
Let me just unwind everything and just sit down. I love naps. So if I could just regroup, take a nap, and wake up fresh, I can attack it a little
So
better.
what if it's one of those things that don't change from a nap?
Oh, typically the thing doesn't change.
But the way you respond.
Yeah.
Okay.
The way I look at it and how
The perception of everything.
yeah.
I will agree, naps definitely help because sometimes.
But you don't take naps.
Hey, I do take naps.
No, I take that back. You do. There has been times you was like, man, I was napping.
Hey, that's the thing. Most of the time, people see me always on the go, but I get mine in.
So but the thing I found out, you be busy on days that you busy, but days that you're not busy, you don't. If that makes any sense. Like your busy days be real busy, like packed to the rim.
So the thing that I have to watch for me is, um, I'm normally so busy that when I'm not busy, I'm completely bored. I, I just need to. I don't always have to be busy doing something, but if I'm a lot of what I've noticed a lot of times is if I have a free day or something like that, and I don't have nothing to do. I'm looking for something to do because I don't have nothing to do, and I'm completely bored with it. And so that's why I try to stay busy because it keeps me occupied. But there definitely are moments where I feel overwhelmed, sometimes overworked, and definitely felt burned out in different areas of my life. And so I guess us trying to figure out different techniques and ways that we can handle those situations in those moments or tools that we could use to get us to that place once we are feeling burned out.
Do you know when you feel burned out?
I think I do.
Like initially, like it,
Like when it's getting to that place.
mm-hmm.
It's hard for me because, and I'm just being transparent and honest, it's hard for me because up until recently, I've always been the person that just takes on things, and even if it may be too much, I still just do whatever it does to get it, do whatever that means to do to get it done. And so I'm learning to not always be a yes man, if that makes sense. And so sometimes it can be overwhelming. And somebody asks me to do something, I can be like, oh my God, but I'm going to get it done. And so I'm learning how to try to relax in those moments, but it's not always that easy.
No.
Sometimes it's easier, said and done. But I guess I'm learning when I'm getting to that place.
So, and then I was thinking earlier, like, I think even like the temperature like affects how you feel. Like,
I would have to agree.
Because like the last 2 weeks, I've just been feeling like, man, I don't want to do anything outside of like what I have to do. Like I'm not trying to take on like any extra things because like it's hot. Like, I know that seems simple, but it's like all these things affect you unknowingly. Like you don't even know that you're being affected by.
That's true.
You don't know you've been affected by this deadline at work, and then you walk outside and it's 100 degrees, and you're like, man, it's hot. And then you go home, and then your faucet breaks, and then it's like,
man,
what?
That alone as a man is frustrating because unexpected things always happen. I tell people that all the time. That's why it's important to have savings. It's important to have stuff set aside because the unexpected, that's the one guaranteed thing to happen.
Yeah.
It's the unexpected. You know, whatever that is.
I think they say expect the
unexpected. Yeah. So would you say expectations play a part in that? Because sometimes we have those expectations on ourselves. And when we can't achieve whatever it is, or if we're just overwhelmed with things, sometimes for me, I feel the pressure to always be okay.
Mm.
And I don't know where that expectation comes from. I'm not sure if it comes from me or from the things around me, but I feel that pressure sometimes. And honestly, sometimes I'm not okay. And so trying to figure out how to maneuver in those moments are sometimes a challenge. But I'm learning that sometimes it's the expectation. Sometimes we put those expectations on ourselves. Oh, we got to get this done. Or we got to do this. Or we got to do that. Or whatever it is. Or I have to be this. Or I have to be this. Sometimes those expectations come from ourselves.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of it does. And we kind of play out scenarios in our head. Like,
yes.
I'm going to do this. This is going to happen. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't happen that way, it's like, oh, I failed. Or you upset because it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out. Because, I had a conversation recently, like, don't try to guess what I'm going to do or say because then you get let down or...
That's true. And you don't respond in that way.
But I think by, like, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing. Typically, I don't put expectations on things that I can't personally control.
Ooh, that's good.
So, like, through life, you learn that, like, if you expect something from somebody and they don't live up to it, then it hurts. So then you build up this, basically, like, okay, I can ask somebody to do this. If they don't do it, then I'll do it. Or,
what if you really need help with something?
I mean,
or you really just need something. Does this stop you from reaching out?
Probably. A lot of times. Because it's like, I just do it. Or if it's dire, okay, yeah, I'll ask.
But why? As men do, it had to be dire for it.
Because if they can't do it, even if they have a legit reason to why they can't do it, it still kind of stings a little. Like,
okay. I get it.
But even if I were to ask you, chances are in my head I'm already telling myself they gonna say no.
Yeah.
Or I'm thinking if they don't say yes, I could do this and do it.
Okay.
So like I always have a backup plan so that I'm not like, dang man, what am I doing? Because I mean we human. People.
Well,
I felt people, so there's no way I can expect that like people wouldn't fail me.
so for me, I don't put nothing past anybody, and so I think I'm that way because if you do put expectations on other people like that, or you think that, especially that they're going to come through for you the way that you would for them, I think you put yourself in a place to be hurt.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't put nothing past anybody that way. If something does happen or don't happen, you know, that I'm not as brokenhearted. But that does not, like you said, take away the sting of what it is.
Right.
And so I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out different things that I can do in my life when I actually feel or know that I'm at the point of being burned out. What to do in those moments.
But if you ask me, I'm gonna take it different. Or do something like don't plan something. Just relax. Like I try to tell my wife, like, okay, relax. Like you don't have this is not urgent, whatever you're doing right now. Like you can sit down for a couple hours. Like it's still gonna whatever it is, it'll still be there. Like all these like a lot like what you said, a lot of like outside expectations drive you to do a lot of stuff that you probably wouldn't choose to do if you had like well you do have the option, but it's like, well, if I don't do it then they gonna say this. Or if I don't do it then but like you heard about the tennis player?
Now what happened?
She was the woman's tennis player. I can't think of her name right now. She's like Asian, African American woman.
Okay.
So she notified one of the Grand Slam tournaments that hey, this I'm gonna participate, but I'm not gonna do interviews before.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Because my mental's not all that, and I'm trying to protect it, right? So
we get penalized for that type of stuff.
So they come back and say, well, yes, you are, or if you don't do the interviews, then you can't, or I don't know if did they first go to fine, or did they say you can't play?
I think you can't play.
Yeah. So them thinking like, okay, we gonna because you get money when you win, right? So that I guess they thinking, oh, we gonna hit it in the pockets and that's gonna make her comply. But she was standing on what she meant. Like, okay, well then I withdraw from the tournament. And then it comes out like now they want to fine her and all this stuff. But it's like mental health is real. Like you think I'm just tired of going to work and I'm tired of the stresses and that wears on you. Like if like your mental health is probably just as important. Okay, so think of this:
it's as important as your physical.
If she broke her ankle, it would not have been an issue. Physical health. She broke her ankle. She say, okay, I can do it. Yeah, they would have been like, okay. But when somebody says that their mental health is shot, then you like, well, still come participate. Just deal with that on your own time.
And that's why I guess I get the pressures of always having to be okay for it.
Right.
Because when you're in the limelight or you're doing something like that or whatever, they're expecting you to show up.
And if you say something like, especially in the world we're in, if you complain about like my mental, I don't want to say church, but it's like
no, that's exactly what it is.
But it's like we almost don't respect it because it's like, well, do you believe in God? Or if you believe in God, then you shouldn't believe that you're mentally. Okay, it can be this and that. Like, you can believe in God and still talk to a therapist or a counselor and still believe God after you talk to this therapist or counselor. Like,
so with that being said, do you believe in having one, or that could be an outlet for us as humans and men to be able to deal with the whole burned out situation?
I believe in having a counselor. It's gonna take a lot for me to go to a counselor. Like, but if that's what you choose to do, I'm okay with it. But man, what it would take for me to say I'm gonna go see a counselor, I don't even know. To be honest with you, like I don't even know.
I guess because as men, sometimes we feel like we can handle it ourselves,
Right?
and it's okay to accept a little help every now and then.
It is.
And that's something that I'm learning to just accept help, and if you need help in that area, it's okay.
Because I am a notorious, like, all right, this may be this, but okay, let me just pray on it, and then if I could just ponder for a couple of days, it'll be fine, or I'll figure something out. Like the other day when we was talking, and you was like, "Are you a good forgiver?" And I was like, "I don't know if I'm a good forgiver. I may be a good forgetter. Like, man, just forget it. Like, just okay,
that's real.
Let it be what it is, and just okay. I'm moving on with life."
But you could forget it, but it's still there.
True.
You can sweep it under the rug, but it's still there.
It depends on what it is.
It depends on. Don't get me wrong. Some stuff we can just kind of
right. That's what I'm saying.
But it's still kind of there.
It is.
Whatever that is.
But it's way easier to tell yourself.
Yeah.
It's good.
I ain't worried about that.
It's good. It's cool. It is what it is.
So you do believe in having a counselor or a therapist?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Okay. So maybe that's one of the things that men could do is reach out to a counselor or a therapist to
talk to somebody.
Because that's what, to me, well, for me, I know that's what's therapeutic for me is actually getting it out.
Right.
And that's also some of the hardest things to do is to get it out.
Because a lot of times when you say stuff out loud, you hear it and you be like, that don't even sound right.
Man.
Maybe that's not okay. Maybe I've been looking at it.
But have you ever had something in your mind or whatever it was, or frustration, and you told somebody and you felt better?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. That's what some of us need to actually just get it out. But it's not always easy because you have to find the right person. Yeah, it has to be somebody that can be confidential and hold your information. Sometimes things are conflict of interest, so it's hard to open up. So even women who are listening, if you have a man and he opens up to you, don't use those things against him.
He'll never open up
because
again.
He will never open up again, especially about whatever it is that he's talking to you about. So would you say, okay, so let me ask you this. Do you have a hobby other than sleeping? So a hobby is an activity done regularly in one's leisure time for pleasure.
Yeah, all the time. Netflix, Hulu,
okay,
Amazon Prime.
And so I bring that up because I think it's important to be able to identify whatever it is that you like doing, whatever how big or how small that may be. I think as a man, it's so important to know what your outlet is and where you go for pleasure, whatever that is. Some people like to play basketball. Some people like to play different sports. Some people like to play video games. Some people like to go fishing. Some people, like myself, do music. I do music as an outlet. I have conversations. That's one of my outlets. I feel better when I've had those conversations. Of course, stuff like prayer and talking to God. Those are outlets for me. But I think it's important for us to be able to identify what those are. Because sometimes we can become so busy and on the go all the time that we don't get a chance to do those things regularly. Now, I think too much of anything is detrimental to you and can harm you. So I'm not telling you as a man to sit down and play video games all day. Because if you do that, then that means you're not working. And which in turn means you're not getting no money and you can't support your family. But if you take out an hour out of a week or 2 hours out of whatever it is time you need to actually sit down and do that, if that's something that you're into,
it has to be reasonable balance.
Has to be reasonable balance. Exactly.
Can't be just lopsided.
But the issue is so many men don't know what that is that they actually like to do, or that they can do to create that peaceful moment, even if it's just for a little bit, until they have to enter back into the world and do whatever it takes to get things done.
I would say that the business that we run is, I wouldn't say it's a hobby, but it's like an outlet sometimes. So like,
because you get to show your creativeness.
Like you can get lost in putting something together, and then when it's done, it's like, oh, I did that. Like,
yes, sir. So have you gone back and looked at like some of your past designs and things like that? I really did that.
Listen, man, I told you I'm the #1 tutor of my own home.
And when I was doing research about this, that was one of the things that they said, and it made me feel good because we had talked about that in previous shows about giving yourself praise. And they said, stuff along the lines of, praise yourself when you do well, but don't be as hard on yourself when you do something wrong. Because I think that's one of the things that we mess up on as well, as far as expectations. We be hard, and it's okay to be hard on yourself in certain situations. I'm not saying be lenient on yourself and just become lazy and just allow anything to happen. But sometimes we beat up on ourselves too much, and it's overkill, and it's hurting us more than it's helping us. And so, taking them praise breaks, like we talked about a couple episodes ago.
No, but check this out.
Those are important.
Like, I'll toot my own horn to myself.
To yourself.
Let me tell you how deep it goes. Like, I'll be in the bed and I'll be scrolling. And I see somebody with something that I made on, and I'll be like, ooh, that looks good on there. But that's all self. Like, nobody would know it until I just told y'all. But it ain't like I'm just out here like, yeah, look at me. To the world.
Yeah. Hey, I did this. I get it.
I'll be out here to the world, but in my bed, you can't tell me nothing.
And there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you don't give off that energy to other people, or make other people feel bad because they can't do what you can do. Right. That's when it comes to the point where you're not humble anymore and you're putting others down to lift yourself up. Like, that becomes a whole issue. So,
I never want to be that guy.
Yeah, like me neither.
Even if I knew, like, I was better at something than somebody, like, I would be the guy that's like, well, let me tell you, like, how to do this and this. Like, this, like, it's not a competition. Like, we not competing. Like, if you get better than me, then I would hope that you would share whatever you learn.
And that's how I am. I love sharing information that was told to me that I learned.
Right.
Because I feel like we're supposed to all help one another.
Mm-hmm.
And if I keep all the information to myself, that's not helping nobody.
Right. You got this master plan that you just gonna die with.
Wow.
And then when you dead and gone, it's gone. So what kind of legacy does that lead to anything? Like if you take something to the grave with you, I'd rather pass it on, and at least it'll live on far after me.
So this quote says, burnout is what happens when you try to avoid being human for too long. That's crazy. Us as men, we have to realize that we are human. We're not Superman. And sometimes it's hard because we're looked at as the person that everybody kind of go to whenever they need whatever done. And so you feel like you have to get all of that done.
Oh, I got it.
But
I got it.
if you're taking care of everybody else, who's taking care of you?
Nobody. I got it.
Yeah, well, I got it. I do it. I got it. I take it. But we kind of suffer through it. Whatever that is in your life. Like we were saying, we don't have all the answers to all of these questions and all, but we want to help each other out and we want to make it through all of this stuff together. So if you are dealing with anything that seems like you feel or you know that you are burned out, find somebody and let them know, because nothing is worse than hearing somebody took their life because it was too much pressure, or you see somebody get caught on drugs or alcohol because they're trying to cope with things that they can't change. You talked about beyond our control, and you talked about that earlier, and it's more common than what people really think. We're all just trying to make it through from day to day, and sometimes, and especially when those unexpected things come in, sometimes people lean on a lot of those different things, those vices that can be turned into addictions, that can turn into things that are detrimental to our lives. So if you are dealing with any of those things, any form of depression, some people deal with seasonal depression. Some people deal with anxiety, and some people just deal with different emotions and emotional things and different things. It's okay to talk to somebody about them. It's okay to, like you said, just take a nap sometimes. Sometimes that'll help, or make sure your blood sugar is regulated. Or
don't downplay your mental health, man. It's just as important as your physical.
Yeah, that's good, because we a lot of times focus on our appearance, our physical health, and what we look like, but mentally jacked up. Yeah. I was just watching a show called
the brain is so powerful. Your mental will turn on your physical.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. So I was watching a show yesterday. It's a Tyler Perry show called Sisters, and one of the guys on there, I think he has a lot of issue stuff going on, mental issue stuff going on. But his girlfriend said one thing, and it triggered him so that it completely turned him off from every piece of conversation or everything that they were having. And it took him back to some type of place where he was really triggered. And so it's just crazy how sometimes that happens to us.
Yeah.
And people don't know. They be like, what just happened? But that goes along with mental health. And so figuring out if you actually battle with depression, or if you battle any type of anxiety or have any fears, or do you know what those are? Have you ever been able to verbalize those things? Have you ever really thought about it for yourself? Even if you haven't talked about it out loud, have you really zoned in on what you fear or what brings anxiety in your life? And how do you handle those in those moments? I think that's important for us to learn and know how to maneuver through, because mental health is just serious. And I hate the fact through the years, especially in our culture of people, and definitely sometimes in the church, they just kind of push it off, or we just don't pray about it. And like God wants us, why would God take the time to create us with these different emotions if He did not want us to deal with them?
Right.
Well, I mean, think about God and who He is, and how powerful He is, and omnipresent and infinite, and all that. He took the time to say, okay, I'm gonna give them this characteristic, this part, and this emotion, this, and we just say, well, because you're a man, you don't deal with it. Like, that's not fair. That's not fair to God who created it. So I think it's important for us to zone in on those things, because we want to be better husbands. We want to be better fathers. We want to be better men. We want to be better leaders. So in order for us to be good leaders in all of those things I just named, we have to make sure that we deal with us. And hey, that's all I got to say tonight.
You burned out, baby.
If you burned out, hey, even if y'all reach out to one of us, I know I'll be willing. If I can help, I will help you or refer you to somebody who can help you. Because this is what we do this for. And like I said, we want to create a space where you can shatter the silence of what you're going through, because that screaming loud, silent, and not being heard is a real thing. And when it's not dealt with, you will feel like you're going crazy. You will feel like you're losing your mind. And then the thing that I'm learning, that I'm the type of person that, well, I used to be, where I kind of held things in, and then when I got to the point where, okay, I feel like I done did all I can, and now I'm about to give you what you've been saying that I am, or what you've been asking for.
And you about to snap
And
out.
then I snap, and then that's when it's like, who are you? Where did that come from? And that's just being real. I mean, we have to be real with ourselves if we want to see growth, if we want to see healing, if we want to see the deliverance take place. We have to be real with our real selves, because it's too many people out here putting on a front for people. And I get it. Nobody wants others to see the bad part of them or the bad side of them, but at least be able to admit those things to yourself, and to, especially if you have a spouse or someone you're close to, because.
But is it bad if it's something that everybody deals with?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying go out here and smoke crack because people smoke crack, but it's like, if stresses of life weigh on you to a point where you have a certain reaction, I don't think that's out of the norm. I think stresses cause reactions with most people. So to label it bad, to try to hide it, I think that our own expectations on ourselves that's causing us to bottle things up. Yeah. So
I think it's the fear sometimes of what we think others are going to think.
Yeah, people do be snobby. Some people do hold their nose up in the air well with you, but they do the same thing too.
Exactly, and that's why I said, I mean, of course, you don't want everybody in your business, but being real with yourself and being transparent with others sometimes helps, because other people realize, you know what, I'm going through some of those same things.
Man,
me too. So it hurts you more than it helps you when you just hold all of it. Because guess what? It still comes out in your actions. Whether you arrogant, whether you snobby, whether you got an attitude all the time, whatever it is. Sometimes that's built up aggression. The root of that is bitterness and childhood trauma, or trauma from your life period, somewhere along the line that's dealt with or unhealed. Sometimes when we deal with those things and don't really deal with those things, it eats away at us.
The whole burning out, and like you said, like don't do it. I pictured a volcano, like you going through all these things, but you just bubbling in the inside. Like,
my God.
And at some point,
you gonna bubble over.
It's gonna erupt Like,
run, and anything outside of that is gonna be burned up.
right. When you can just stick a little release valve somewhere every now and then,
Just breathe.
Hey man, let me talk to you about this real quick. Or whatever. Do whatever you need to do to have some sort of outlet so that eruption, it has a place to release a little calmer than the
Right.
now you done said some stuff that you can't take back. You can.
That's one thing I know for sure. Once you say it, once it come out, it's just like the internet. When you put it out on the internet,
It cannot be.
it can't be taken back. You can try to delete it all day long, but by that time, somebody will screenshot it.
Man, there are websites where you can go back to a point in time when a website said something. That website might not even exist right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, don't be a volcano already.
That's good, brother. Man. Well, we thank you all again for
Appreciate y'all
joining in on our show tonight. If you feel burned out or you just dealing with the pressures of life and it seems like it's too much, like I said, find somebody, call me, we can pray about it, we can talk about it, because I am learning that's a part of my purpose in life right now is to help others who don't feel that they have a voice or know how to access what's going on inside. So I don't mind praying with you, talking with you, helping you get to a better place. I can't say I got all the answers because I don't. But I think like I say all the time, it takes a person with a conscious mind to build somebody up. Any of us can tear each other down. So I want to help build us up so we can become good men, good fathers, good husbands, good brothers, good uncles, good teachers, good preachers, good pastors. Because, I mean, what good is to have the title, but you still jacked up? Right? Everybody chasing the title, but they don't want to deal with the person they really are.
So be a public success
and a private failure. Man, me too. Me too. Thank you all again for joining us tonight. For those who commented tonight, hopefully you got something out of this conversation. I know I did. Make sure that you all go to our YouTube channel. That's at Man Me Too on YouTube, Man with 3 N's. Make sure you type that in. Hit we want you to subscribe. We want you to hit the notification bell. Make sure you hit all so you can be notified anytime we post anything. Also, if you had a comment or a question that did not get answered tonight, make sure you send that to Man with 3 N's, Man Me Too, at gmail.com, and we will screen those, look through them, and hey, we may just bring it up on the next show. So we thank you again. I don't even know if we introduced ourselves. My name is Scooter Lamont.
You famous though, they know you.
Oh man, nobody knows me.
Uncle Paul.
And this is Man Me Too. Have a good night.
Catch y'all next time.